The biggest challenge of working on the finale, well, physically, we had new sets. It was all new sets. So the big gala, that was tricky. And for many months, there was a lot of talk of how we present this. And it went through many incarnations and ultimately ending up at the spinning cubes with the black and white photos. And that was just spectacular and unexpected. We needed to shoot a bathroom. So that was a built set. And the details of that tied into the world of Lumen. And it was very unusual. I mean, you could see the curved walls and the textures were kind of brutalistic. And then we also built Devin and Rickon's house, his office and the baby's room, the hallway and the bathroom all connect to our location. So just, the challenge of tying all those together between the locations and the built sets. Hi, this is Andrew Baseman, set decorator of Severance. I think the finale was so important to Severance because for the previous episodes, there were so many unanswered questions we all have. And we were hoping that the final episode would answer them. And it answered many of them. And it left a few things open for season 2. But it was important to wrap it up, but also expose more. So, for example, we see the Audis' lives. Irving's home, it was important to show his other life because we have no idea from seeing his innie what he's like in the real world, I guess. So it was important to show he had a dog, that he was nurturing and taking care of an animal. Showing his military background, when the camera pans over and you see his dresser top, everything was very neat and organized. So I had everything lined up. Some memorabilia on the walls, some framed military badges. I had a flag in a shadow box. I had other like vintage military posters and pictures. You didn't see a lot of those, but what you did see, I think you could pick up on that. It was, he was very proud of his service. And that carries over a bit to his innie self. He's the one who really takes it seriously. And especially when they go to the perpetuity wing, he was very proud of that, the heritage. So that's a little bit as is seen in his other life.
It's said that as a child, Wolfgang Mozart killed another boy by slamming his head in a piano. Don't worry. My research for this book has proven the claim untrue.
In decorating Devin and Rickon's house, it was important to show it as a warm, nurturing environment with their newborn. Since it was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright's student, it has a Frank Lloyd Wright aesthetic to it. Although it's modern and angular, it's very warm, the wood tones. And the lighting was lots of glowing lights, not harsh lighting. The colors we chose were warm. We had like mohair throws, and even the book jacket, which is the most key prop in that entire environment, is this bright red and orange book jacket with Rickon's face. Mark's home has a bit of his inside world where it's very sparse. Even though the colors are a little warmer, it's still, he has a sofa, a coffee table, and then his kitchen is also quite sad with a few little things for like, a canister of tea or, a little dish with keys. It is sadly similar to his innie life. Some of the differences between the interior of Lumen and the outside world, aside from the old versus the new, we wanted the outside world to have much more warmth and color rather than the very tight color palette of Lumen, which is predominantly green and blue. And then there's one room that's purple. You see a little bit of it. That's for expansion. So I think we're in there a couple of times. You get a sense of the desks were covered up with tarps. So you didn't see a lot of it, but that's, probably season 2, we'll get into the purple, the purple world. But even the sparseness versus more layered, that you can see between the two worlds. The whole point of dressing Lumen in contrast to the outside world was to make it vague. The time period is vague. So it's intentionally neutral. So the furnishings harken back to like the 40s. There's a lot of industrial pieces in the viewing room. The table in there is like a steel case 1940s, 50s desk. And the chairs are probably era 1940s, 50s, propeller-based chairs that are classic, but they were probably, used in Lumen for the past 70 years or so. Those who work at Lumen, everything is kept there, even in the supply closet in the MDR. There are a few scenes where you see them standing against reams of paper. Everything is, of course, very anal and straight and lined up. But off camera, you don't see there's years of lamps from their desks that they no longer use, but they're all stored there. So there's like 3 different eras of lamps. There's old staplers, there's tape dispensers, all of the things that would be on their desks, even picture frames. So elsewhere throughout Lumen are all of these things that are stored for possible use again, or sometimes they'll end up in the perpetuity way.
God damn it! Kill it! Kill it!
So the control room was designed for this episode. I think it's the only time we see it. And it is, it could have been from any kind of period science, sci-fi movie. It just has like quintessential control room vibe to it, with all the blinking lights and the levers and the buttons that who knows what those even do. We wanted it very symmetrical, very orderly. It's very clean. There's stations for, I think, 4 people, 2 in each room. So we had chairs set up. I thought it would be fun to have, if they got bored down there, they would, make things out of paper clips or little things out of paper. So we had little things like that hidden away that they would have done to pass the time. It's the heart of this, of Lumen. It really is where, it's the brains. So we want it to be as kind of scary and off-putting.
I confer upon you the advanced role of department chief. Congratulations. A handshake is available upon request.
Thank you. May I have a handshake?
What I learned the most from working on Severance was thanks to Ben Stiller. I have never been accused of being a minimalist before in my decoration. I'm more of a maximalist. And so for this, it was showing great restraint to tell the story with fewer pieces. And I've actually carried that into my personal life as well. So I don't have to have so many things. I can just have a few of the best things. Doing, all the Lumen interiors was a real exercise in restraint and control. And I thank Ben for that.